Winston and I'm a composer, and today we're going to be learning about a few musical concepts. Scales, scale degrees, tonic, dominant, and leading tone. Let's start with scales and scale degrees. The reason why we're starting with both of these is because they're similar. So we're going to use the F major scale for an example. This is what the F major scale sounds like. Let's number them out. So, first, these are what we call scale degrees. F major is number 1 of the scale. G, the note G is number 2 of the scale. A is note number 3 of the scale. B flat is note number 4. C is note number 5. D is note number 6. E is note number 7. F is note number 8 or 1 again, because remember this F is the same as this F, so you can repeat it. That's the way scales were made. So now why don't we move on to tonic? The tonic is the first most important note of the scale that we're using. Let's say in F major. The tonic we're going to circle in orange. It's the most important note and the note you can build a chord off of. This is what the F major chord sounds like. And of course you know that the bottom note, the root note of the F major chord, is the tonic. So now let's move on to the dominant. The dominant, which we'll circle in purple, is the second most important note in the F major scale and chord. The dominant of the F major chord is C, or the 5th note. Without the dominant, the F major chord would just be this. And it's also the 5th note of the scale. And if we didn't have the dominant, the F major scale would sound like this. That's what it sounds like without the dominant, or the C in it. Now we're moving on to leading tone. The leading tone is the 7th note of the scale. Let's circle that in red. No, actually, the leading tone is the 7th note of a scale. So let's say the E is the leading tone, the E of F major. Without the leading tone, F major scale would just be like this. Doesn't sound very complete, does it? We're going to take another chord. Scale. It's called D minor. This is what the D minor scale sounds like. And what's funny is D minor has the B flat, and that's the only flat, just like in F major. It only has the B flat. So that's the D minor scale, and let's number the scale. The D minor scale. D is always 1, which means, and then E is 2, F is 3, G is 4, A is 5, B flat is 6, C is 7, D is 8 or 1. So now let's move on to tonic. As we've already said, the tonic is the number 1 most important and the root note of the D minor chord, which sounds like this. So let's circle the tonic in orange. So now let's move on to the dominant. The dominant, of course, is the A, the 2nd most important note of the D minor scale and chord. Without it, the D minor chord would just be this. And the D minor scale would sound like this. Doesn't sound very complete. So let's circle the dominant in purple. And now let's move on to leading tone. This one. First of all, the leading tone is the 7th scale degree, or the 7th note of a scale. And let's circle that one in red, so you know which one. And now we've learned about scales, scale degrees, tonic, dominant, and leading tone. And that concludes our lesson for today.